base as we get straight into Game 2 draft here. Already getting some picks flying through, and
Yeah.
FPX now in blue.
We do see FPX locking away the JJ Poppy, as well as the Jace that has been a very strong suit of Fofo. But I do like these change-up of sides. We'll see if it bears fruit at all as well. I do like this Tristana ban away. We've seen such a reliance on this pick for a lot of carry potential, but also just those double marksman comps that really thrive off of a pick like that. We'll see now, though, what the final ban is going to be for FPX. It is the Nico that ends up coming through.
Me too, Fofo. I'm also confused by this pick. I'm like, why did we ban this? Obviously, Fofo did have some good plays. There were some abilities for him to actually find those pop blossoms, but it seems like FPX, they don't want to have to deal with it. It's also not a champion that they're going to be looking to first pick here. So, FPX, what is your call? Are you going to be the ones to try to go for that first pick Kai'Sa like we've been seeing in some other series? That is the case here.
All
EDG,
right.
your response should be either your jungler or looking for one of your solo laners.
See how much priority they give to the solo lanes now on the red side especially. And I love the opt-in for the Kai'Sa. Just gives you that strength for LWX, but also the follow-up. We'll see as first two picks will be coming across for EDG. Would actually love to see a lot of skirmishing potential given over to JJ. But it's actually the Varus as their first pick on red side.
Some prowess in the laning phase for Uzi this time around. We'll have to have a pretty big mentality shift going into this game, just because of we saw his positioning going into that first game for the series. Getting the Renekton again here for Ala, wanting to make sure that they have something that is pretty blindable, although FPX will have to be careful. I was wondering where this Cassante was going to be, because you would think with EDG, they'd want to be relying on the flex. Now, yes, Cassante is a little bit nerfed, and we've been seeing the exploration of some different Cassante champions or counters. We're going to get that same matchup here again, this time on opposite
It ain't broke,
sides.
don't fix it.
Shalahu is going to take Jax yet again. Has been one of his best play champions here in the summer split, and looking forward to what we get as a repeat.
And again, there just was not an answer to Shalahu later on. And honestly, if we don't see a difference in the rep, maybe that becomes the case again. Yeah. I do like the Nautilus grab again in FPX, just going with the same style of composition in the first three, keeping EDG guessing.
They're like, they won't possibly pick the same composition again, will they? They can't possibly get away with this a second time. EDG now, they could index towards their jungler. They could also just go ahead and try to pick a priority mid laner, since they do know that coming after this is going to be a lot of bans going over. So now, as we get towards the second phase of the draft, have to be looking at what mid laners are going to be left. You have to expect that the Annie and other things that Care would be looking for are going to be taken away.
You've got to find an answer against this Fofo Azir. Again, it's his most played champion of all time. It is something that he has gone to, and he needs to provide either carry or setup for his teams. And here on EDG, it is oh so important now to have that combination with what you're going to be drafting, because you're looking at support and jungle as your final two picks. We do get a lot of that whittling down from the jungle pool, as FPX still have theirs to choose as well. We get the Vi and the Sejuani first off the tables.
Have to be thinking as well, ban the Kha'Zix, and for FPX, you're not going to be banning another jungler like Maokai away, instead taking the Heimerdinger, which we saw a little bit of the hints of that in game 1, stop the Varus from being picked. EDG gonna have to find a different support to be taken here. They just take like another Braum kind of matchup going into the Nautilus. It would add as a form of disengage going up against FPX, but when you look at this team does want to go forward. Azir wants to be able to walk forward. Uzi on this Varus wants to be able to walk forward, send those arrows flying. So I think they're going to be giving counter pick to Mako this time.
All right, we'll see if that does make the difference here, because they're going to need to find something to pair up with the Varus. We do get the Fangorn Forest matchup here, coined by the LCK broadcast, as we do get the Maokai versus Ivern, and the Kiana locked in for Care. Let's freaking go!
Okay, I love this draft already. We've got an Ivern in the mix, which we have been seeing pop up more and more. Maybe this is Kanavi's fault. Kanavi picked up the Ivern, and everybody was like, okay, well, if he's doing it, then, you know, we might need to start adding this champion to our roster. Now, EDG, what is your counter pick here? It is going to be that Braum, so a lot of defensive tools. Damage is going to be in spades here for EDG, but fights need to go long for that to be the case. Where FPX, they have an insanely strong first punch. Daisy coming in, you have Care on this Kiana, his champion, the only person who's really playing this in competitive right now. And impressive stuff. If they can blow up single members of EDG, FPX are looking very strong.
I mean, honestly, you're looking for a little bit of snowball action like you did in game number 1, but with some more stability behind it, I feel like. Now, I will say Hacker and Care are a crucial crux here in game number 2. If they don't get ahead or if they don't have any stability, it gets very difficult, I feel like, for FPX. And we still see some of those strengths shining through for EDG. But this is momentum-based control right now from FPX. They were able to upend EDG's plan in game number 1, make them look like they hadn't even shown up to the series yet. And here in game 2, this is a moment for EDG to try to step to the fold, to try to make this series go the distance, and to try to lock in playoffs for them. Because again, EDG, if they had won here tonight, or if they win here tonight, they will be qualified for the summer playoffs. And FPX, they still have a long road to go, but their goal here tonight was to knock IG out with a 2-0. Now we're on the cusp of going into second game. We're headed to Summoner's Rift. We'll see if EDG and Uzi can make it happen against LWX, the pillar of FPX. We'll let those gyos ring. We'll see who's got the crowd behind them here in Shanghai as the game kicks off now.
Wow. Come in. Imagine if this is the game you need to qualify. Your next two are OMG and Weibo.
You have to get this done.
Yeah. It has to be here. You could make an argument that OMG are starting to slip. Gee, man, they need this win. FPX, similarly.
It's a bit of a rough road ahead for both teams, and now even a little bit maybe more stressful for EDG dropping that first game. We'll see if FPX can still have the heat coming in game 2. You see level 1s set up here as a Kiana ahead is a terrifying thing. We'll see if they want to move up into this. Oh, that's a bait and a half. Oh, has to flash the dredge line. That would have been a connect.
Oh, wow. Okay, I love that from Hacker. Throws out the cube. The ward is still alive.
You got the ward. FPX win.
Let's go.
GG easy. We'll wrap it up. Go ahead and get the keyboards going. I think I just filled out.
Yeah. Okay, I need water now.
Now, I do want to take a look back at what we set up for both these teams. Obviously, all the implications of playoffs and the very tough end of the split for both of them. 2 series left after this one, but specifically honing in on the strengths we saw from game number 1, especially from FPX. Xiaolahu was an absolute menace on this Jax, but LWX truly showed up on the Kaisa, and I'm looking to them again to be very big power points here, but add Care on top of the mix like a cherry on a sundae.
This time around, he won't have that same kind of survivability that something like an Annie would give you. When you are playing Kiana, it is a feast or famine kind of play style. You need to go all in. Hopefully, he will not be done dirty by the observers for his own misplay this time around in this game. FPX, however, they have a lot of great things going on for them. Again, if we see Xiaolahu with a early lead, it is going to be a similar story to game 1, where in the side lane, he will have so much priority. He will have the ability to take Ala down in the longer lane. And Hacker wants to avoid all the early action if possible. JJ, while he is on this Maokai, could look to try to go for something, but crossing the river just has so many risks and really not enough reward here for him. We're already seeing Hacker at least paying attention to doing some of the early clears here. He got his top side, went down towards bot side. He cleared all this. He's now moving back up into the top lane. Xiaolahu is actually backing now and should be looking for what... If he doesn't teleport this, I think he's trying to go for a cheater recall where he doesn't miss out on any of the gold.
He's going to try to. We do see those full clears coming out from both sides. The trees will be one with the jungle, but it is now looking at that proactivity next, because I do still feel like FPX have that bar to reach in terms of execution, and it's got to come through Hacker and Care earlier on.
Early vision as well, already crossing the river. Hacker going to be indexing towards this top side, and splitting the map like this is just a very good place for them to be now. A huge wave for EDG on the crash.
This is dicey. LWX very low. They're going to TP in, though. They have Care joining and Mako. He gets right back. This is catastrophe for EDG as it's FPX who capitalize. Care gets the kill, but Uzi, he needs to set him down. He can't get him.
No.
Oh, my God. EDG needed one thing to go right, one moment to go their way, and it just hasn't. FPX answering kind, and Care, he's stepping up, he wants some more, he's playing a little bit loose, and Deucey as FPX with 3 quick kills. Bang, bang, bang!
They could not get out of that play. They even get the teleport out from Care. You see hackers in mid lane catching this wave. Fofo does not get to hit this minion wave for free. FPX just completely blow open this game. Mazel, you wanted to see early action. Well, here they go. FPX have delivered immediately.
This was EDG's play to pull, and Mako just gets out positioned a little bit, and the time had come when Care arrived.
Why did we go for that play? You didn't land any of the winters by none of these concussive blows are landing. And unfortunately, Uzi, one auto attack away from killing Care, potentially a big difference maker in
Pop
this
your
fight.
pots, folks.
And there is just not enough cooldowns. EDG, I mean, Uzi, at this point, he is too late. He had to have recalled already. He had to have moved back and be a lot further from this position. It is a Prey Seeker that lands on the JJ, and it is a Q coming out from Care. Takes care of business. FPX 3,000 or 3 kills up, 2,500 up for them. What?
We'll see. FPX with weird lane stay here, but a push into them on the bottom side, and both junglers heading back down here. You do have Dragon up on the board and available, but I don't know if that's necessarily something that both of these teams can necessarily go with early on. We do see Hacker going for a bit of a lane gank in bottom side.
Wanting to pay a few respects, making sure that it's in a bit of a weird state. And if Mako and crew want to re-engage, it is up to them to try to go for this. Dragon wanting to be started here by EDG.
No, 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 not again. Mako, he's got to get out of this one. You have JJ right behind, so he will survive. But it's a really decisive play that now puts EDG on the back foot in bot lane.
Saw right there, Care was even making the move over, or at least feigning.
Oh
they land this again?
The CC chain is there. You have the AoE. Chocho gets pushed under tower, and that's a big trade back from EDG. The burn is enough, though, and supportal combat takes place in a 3v3.
Good comeback there for the side of EDG. They swap out their supports in terms of the trade, but Kill going over to Uzi, exactly who you want to see with how this game has gone so far. LWX is just getting more goal. What is Allah doing?
That's a
he was
great
proxying,
question.
I guess?
Just willing to take the trade. Realize Shallahu is not going to go in on me. He could not possibly want to fight me, and actually gets away with it. So, a little bit of interesting stuff going on there, but now we're looking at Vision being played around this Dragon Pit and priority around mid lane for FPX.
Right now, both of these junglers need to race for level 6 right now. Hacker, very close. You can say the same thing for JJ, who's about 2 camps away. Be able to grab this. Having ultimate, having the Daisy on Ivern is so important. Adds such a big piece of your damage. And very early on, that champion is essentially, that Daisy is essentially a 6th champion for them. And very difficult for EDG to deal with how low range most of these members are.
You can't have that not going your way. As those level 6s do come alive, we get the trades back and forth in top side. Daisy already showing up and coming up clutch against Mako. Does so much damage early on as Mako will be pressed out of his own jungle. We'll see as FPX actually look to take plates for LWX, and the facilitation starts now for the pillar of FPX.
LWX has been on this roster since 2017. He has been a part of FPX for such a long time. Obviously was there during their championship run at Worlds and has continued to be one of the more consistent members. He has had some slip-ups. His career has obviously had high highs, has had some lows, but this split so far, it has been all eyes on this marksman player. And especially in a meta where Kai'Sa's here, FPX are looking better and better as the weeks go on.
Oh, we got a 4v4 brewing. Allah and Shallahu taking heavy trades up there as now you get the re-engage. Allah looking for it as well, but he can't get followed up by his team, and he just gets taken out of the fight. HYCAN will quickly be trying to set up for the rest of the team as Shallow, who has also been taken out. And the Rift Herald eventually goes down to EDG, but a nice little knock-in, and Fofo isn't going to be enough. LWX is popping, and the Killer Instinct on the Mako, it's not enough. Oh, he gets the trade back in the end, but FPX, they are taking a tussle here, and EDG show out strong.
EDG are more than happy to get into the dugout with you if you are going to get down and dirty with the crew. FPX, I like the aggressive nature, but as soon as you find one pick, as soon as some of your tools are gone, that's it. They could not enter into that river without extending overly. And right here, there's just not enough. Like, you don't do enough damage. You're waiting for Care to find a big knockup. And Zhaolahu right now, making pretty bad trades, already has to use the flash. HYCAN is not going to be able to play for this. This Maokai ult as well, buying a lot of space for the team. And unfortunately, I think FPX just fighting a little too long, fighting a little too hard for ultimately the objective that they were never going to be able to get.
This pushback from Fofo as well, just delivering it to the pockets of Uzi, who himself now has those 3 kills in his pockets. And I think really, really big moment now that the static shiv is also completed. You got the crown completed for Fofo for EDG to be the ones to set the tempo here in game number 2, something they could not say in game number 1.
Right now, gold in the pockets of both mid and AD carries for both teams. A little bit of a different game, right? HYCAN, not on this Kha'Zix, won't obviously have the same carry potential as a Ivern. But even topside right now, Zhaolahu actually doesn't have that big of an advantage. It's one plate for one plate on either side. They're pretty even in CS as well. And Ala, come team fights, is going to be a much more relevant member unless this Jax is able to land a huge counter-strike.
Always just got to look at the side lane pressures coming into it, though. Shallahu will take a tower trade there, but the EDG Dragon has been started. 11 minutes in, we'll have our first one going over, and that's going to be a late stacking objective if they want it.
You know, it's funny as well. Ivern has a little bit of dis-synergy with his team because he is going to be planting so many brushes. I'll hold that now.
Yeah, he does have the brushes, actually buying a lot of time here as Daisy's just stutter stepping for some reason. Mako just get taken out by Tocho. And now LWX with a nice reposition there. They get 2.
What is this champion,
HYCAN
man?
getting another one. I'm telling you, man. Friends of the Forest are alive and well. But you do have that Rift Herald utilized now by JJ in the bottom lane. See if they can get some gold back and put into Fofo here.
Every time pro players talk about Daisy, it's like someone will kill Daisy. It's always someone else will kill Daisy. And then eventually it's like, oh God, wait a minute. This little thing
forgot about Daisy.
Everybody forgot about Dr. Daisy. It just doesn't happen. They get knocked up. They're getting slowed as well. HYCAN, this Ivern pick has been so instrumental in a lot of wins here in the LPL. And so far, Showan that is the exact same here. Already has 4 stacks of his Dark Seal. Going for the Shirelias as well. So running at EDG is only going to get easier. And right there, they barely spot him out. They're able to make this play. I like the idea for this, but the fact of the matter is they don't have enough damage right now. I mean, Uzi needs to be DPSing right now. He needs to be auto-attacking, applying light procs. It's not it.
I love Daisy trying so hard to get into the fight there, but being, nature's grasped down. Still able to end up going down in the end, but it was truly a nice utilization of the compositional strength by FPX, and it's something now they can play off of, because you got the Duskblade completed there for Care as well, and this is a composition that, kind of like game number 1, if they start getting a ball rolling, that ball's rolling straight to your house and crashing it down.
Look at what FPX are doing. They are taking this priority from the bottom lane and moving this into wards. Now, you need to be careful. Care probably going to just be looking to jump over this wall.
Oh, change direction. Yeah, it should be nice re-engage here, though, by FPX. They're going to put a lot of damage into JJ, but the Nature's Grasp comes across, gets on the 2. Care just buying a lot of space on the side as well. FPX stands strong in the face of EDG.
Whoa.
Goes for the play. He feels like Mako is the one that's caught out, and he kind of is, as they still go. And it's not Tanner time, it's Care time, baby. As it's LWX making the move into the bot lane in a 1v1 with Uzi. He's in some trouble, but Care trying to separate them, trying to stop the fighting, stop the bleeding, as EDG get pushed out of their lane.
I love that even when ahead, LWX is going to look for those flashes, will not have that available and is unable to find more. But it's just kills after kills being stacked up here for FPX. Not expected to win the series, not expected to be this dominant up against EDG. And EDG, who, in all rights, have been surging. Three-game win streak so far from them, coming all the way from week 4, and looking revitalized, looking like this team with Uzi should be able to find more advantages than they necessarily have. And so far this game, it's only 900 gold. Surprisingly enough, it is 9-5. And look at what is happening across the lanes. A lot of this right now does come down to our mid lanes. While Care is finding kills, Fofo is continuing to farm away on this Azir.
He is. He does have that crown to start, so a little bit defensive start, but going, I believe, for the Nashor's Tooth next. This all started by Uzi landing a max range chains, but I don't know if it was the engage you necessarily wanted.
He's not doing any damage. This is, again, a symptom of what we saw in the last game, where Uzi just a little too far back. Yes, you want to play in protection range. You want to make sure that you're not in threat, but it is that thin line between actually dealing damage and not being able to do so. Finding more kills. This flash right here is just, you know, LWX showing off.
Just gotta have a little bit of fun with it. As we do get first turret, though, for EDG, it goes straight for Uzi. So that's actually pretty big, while the trade does come down for FPX on the other side with the Rift Herald. It's Ala under some pressure from FPX.
Demolish procs as well. They even have the Rift Herald, which should be moving into mid. 30 seconds before the Dragon here. We'll be looking to see how FPX set up for this Drake. They are not first to the play. They do not have mid priority as of right now. And JJ will be able to sneak behind his bottom lane duo, start to put down saplings. Don't know if FPX are really going to be looking to contest. And if they do, it'll probably coming off the back of a re-engage after the Dragon has already been taken. Look at that player gold. It is our 80 carries in prime position. But LWX, he's number one and for a reason.
Yeah. I'm glad that we got that first game out of the way. You know, they had to get some distractions everywhere else. Yes, LWX popped up, you know, a lot of other members for FPX. Now we get to the brass tack. Now we get to where the spotlight has always been for this series, and it's Uzi versus LWX. Uzi is still in this fight, unlike in game number 1, and we'll have to see them really find those executions here as FPX use the Rift Herald in mid lane. EDG do start up the Dragon.
They're going to drop this objective. Maybe Care gets into a flank position, but all this does is cut EDG out for the mid. Instead, they're going to try and overforce, pincer them.
Oh,
What
no.
is this teleport?
What?
Allah!
Okay, well, this is trouble because it's 5v4 and Allah is nowhere nearby. That's the depth charge that connects onto 2, but FPX are hesitant. He tries to get in there, gets knocked back, though. That was actually so nice with the Bramble Smash from JJ. He tries to catch out Shallahu. Look on the flank, though. Allah's here. They've got to try to separate, though, as that's a big, perfect display. But no, it's not enough as Allah has found the backline at EDG. They're finding the fight. Can they get the follow-up, though? Allah is chasing him down. Uzi doesn't have any way to get over but flashing, so he's going to stop. And Chocho goes down to Allah.
This game is going to get as brawler heavy as we possibly can. FPX just overextending their reach there to try to find a punishment on the EDG. You got the turret. It's just a back out towards the top side of the map. They wanted to fight. They wanted to get into the mud with EDG and close up a lot of that gold lead. Shutdowns going over to the side of EDG. Feels pretty good for them. Take a look at this replay. Unfortunately, this teleport is just way too ill-timed. They grab this. From here, the fight is not looking good. You have to overextend so far. Zhao Lahu even in a great position, but as soon as this counter-strike's not able to land, this should be their signal to pull out.
The fact that Allah was able to come down, even get a little bit of rage from mid lane and come into it, the damage follow-up was just not there. Even LWX trying to get there does end up getting Mako, but it's just a really decisive fight and a really prolonged one for EDG, and that's something you highlighted in the draft. EDG want prolonged fights. That time, they were able to survive long enough. Now they're looking at 2 Ido Spike for Uzi and getting very close for Fofo as well.
Fofo being able to finish that Nashor's Tooth so early on, or at least early on in this game, around the 20-minute mark, will be a huge turning point for EDG. If they can stand their ground, buy time for Fofo and Uzi to put down those damage, then we're looking at a pretty good game here. But on the other side, FPX, LWX finishing that second item, like you said, the item timings are starting to come in, and those Predator missiles are going to start flying through the air. As soon as they start to land 1 by 2 by 3, people are going to have to start getting chunked.
See if they can navigate that to some extent. JJ was looking on bottom side here, but it is that full reset coming out from FPX as the dust has settled for now in our very chaotic game number 2. It is the expected fight that we wanted, right? Both of these teams have things to fight for. EDG, we're looking to lock in summer playoffs tonight, but they are themselves against the ropes going into game 2. At FPX on the other side, yes, they need every win possible, but they are looking to eliminate IG with a 2-0 over EDG here. And I think when we look at how the scrappiness has come through, this is exactly what I would want delivered to our doorstep.
Two teams that are so close in the standings. This is what we should come to expect, in my opinion, when they are this close, that these fights are going to be going back and forth. They lose mid-tier 1 here, right before the Dragon is spawning as well. Minute and a half. This gives them plenty of time to get vision, start to farm up some camps that are starting to spawn, take recalls, and be ready for this next fight. As FPX, in a small line of play, have immediately given over the gold lead, right? It was in their advantage for so long. Then they overchased in bottom lane. Then it was the Dragon where they overchased. So getting dicey, I think, for FPX in a game that should be theirs to win. You see the gold difference swinging very wildly.
Nobody has made it over 2K just yet. It has been a hotly contested game number 2. We got about a minute till that Dragon spawns. A lot of presence onto this top side of the map, though, as we see Vision Game has been played up there. But again, EDG could be on sole point with this, and that gives them a lot of power in decision-making later on.
Yeah, right now, splitting on the top side. We're seeing Xiaolahu on the bottom side here. I think has to be a little bit respectful. We'll see Mako and JJ on the top side. It tells him we can start fighting immediately. That's a pretty big trade going on to Ala. Feels a little bit thanks to the Q, but they having the ability to push this, and I think actually just take this turret outright with the Demolish procs.
Just walk right by him, take it out. Why not? As another tower falls, that is all outer towers for EDG gone, and not a defensive structure in sight if you're contesting in the middle of the map.
Summoning the Azir turret cuts the map in half right now. You see Care and LWX stuck on the top side. Hacker and Chocho both doing the same. They're standing around mid. Catching this wave so high for EDG means that it is very, very simple. They can catch it up here. It takes forever for FPX to actually push past this point. And this Dragon should be theirs. Look at the vision that is available to them. No sweepers really inside.
I will say,
Allah has one. Maokai has one.
Care doesn't have second item here, so that is a bit of a difference coming into this fight.
Doesn't even have enough money to. He could just back and look for a teleport instead. Opting in for the fight. We're getting a team fight, whether or not we like it. Xiaolahu on the flank. So is Care now.
LWX, okay, they get the engage. Care with a big supreme display of talent, and LWX gets followed up on, though, by the backline access of EDG. It's Hala going big, but Mako and Fofo surviving. Hala once more. He is a hungry croc, and he's trying to set you out. As it's still Daisy clocking away as Mako goes down. Xiaolahu is starting to ramp up. He's been training with the Grandmaster, but it looks like he might have to run away. As Ala, the angry croc, sitting at almost 6,000 damage, they wipe him clean. And a big moment from the former LNG top laner, anew on EDG.
He did not care about the laning phase. He said, I'm playing Renekton. I know what my job is. Provide threat onto these backline carries. And Xiaolahu, for all the credit that we've been giving him for his ability to just ignore this top laner and Allah, I mean, the fight just starts off so incredibly here for FPX. But this Kai'Sa, like we've seen time and time again, is a double-edged sword immediately into this backline. It now means that the damage from Fofo is there. This threat from this Renekton takes care of the mid and AD carry of FPX. And then the rest of this fight is just history for them. While Fofo is low, this Drain Tank Renekton is just putting in so much work for EDG.
It really is, and you see a little bit of decisive moments there, but specifically if LWX stayed with the team, maybe the fight looks a little bit different, and then they just get picked apart on the back end of it. Really good capitalization from EDG, and especially an incredible step up from Ala on this Renekton after that tragic game number 1.
Tragic game number 1. It was even, game number 2 here. Just straight up ignoring him. Jax is going to continue to be that side lane threat. And instead going for a team fight build here in the Divine Sunderer, then picking up the Black Cleaver. We saw it last game as well. Third item, Zhonya's, means that you are sitting to be in the middle, sitting with a ton of ability haste. And items, we've been talking about them all game. Third item's done for both of our AD carries. And right now you look across, Fofo has that stopwatch, has the Nashor's Tooth done. So anytime that EDG get alone with an objective, you have to imagine that it's going to burn down incredibly quickly.
We'll see if Xiaolahu can make good on that side lane promise that he has with this Jax as he did in game number 1, but the fight is looking there from EDG. We have a little bit of a gold lead, but it has been fluctuating both ways. FPX kind of hesitant to find the big engages, but you did get finally second item completed for Care, and we'll see if that does make a difference here with those big engages. Meaning of, though, Xiaolahu, he's popped that Grandmasters, and Ala is looking for a solo escape out of the side laner of FPX. We'll end up getting it, but the pressure is there, and a tier 2 tower under threat.
Has to be careful, has to recall here. I don't think he's going to go for the teleport back into this play. But these are one of the win conditions, right? This is what we set up from draft. We were looking for from Xiaolahu coming in from game 1, especially the side lane threat, the ability for him to consistently apply pressure. Ala's job this game is to be a nuisance for players like Care and LWX in the side lane. He's not going to be able to do anything up against this Jax. Continuing some of that pressure is buying time for FPX.
Oh goodness, oh goodness. EDG, they're pouncing, and they have already found Hacker out. He was caught backing there, and that's the parent started. You got a TP coming in from Care. He does have a lot of breathing room with this Supreme Display of Talent around the Baron pit, but it's got to be a miracle here as all of FPX has shown up, but they don't have a jungler, and they got to give over the Baron to EDG.
I thought maybe with LWX landing some more of those Prey Seekers with Care with that Supreme Display of Talent would have been able to turn it. Without a jungler, I think recognizing that they cannot do much in this game, or around that objective at the very least. So getting teleports out of both Care and Xiaolahu as well as getting the Baron, that is a huge win for EDG.
They are stepping up that gold advantage especially, but somebody else as well as Ala really showing out in game number 2 is JJ, right? We were coming into this series, we're saying how much JJ likes to have control around the map and how much EDG can chokehold you into the ground if he does have that strength. And we didn't really see that in game number 1. Here now with the Maokai, 100% KP, but also just presence where it's needed, when it's needed for EDG.
It feels perfect for JJ, the fact that he is playing this Maokai. It gives him all of the vision that he would potentially want with the saplings, their ability to stop FPX from walking in. As soon as there's a sapling there, like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to go for this now. Minute before the dragon here, Mazel. Items are coming in. This is about as strong as either team are going to get for the time being. There's still Baron in the back pocket of EDG for another minute and a half. You have to think that EDG should be advantaged in this. You see how strong Fofo is. Actually going to be picking up what looks to be his Zhonya's here now. So has Flash, has Zhonya's, is incredibly difficult to kill. FPX, they're going to have to get creative. They're going to have to find some kind of pick onto one member before the play happens. Otherwise, this game gets away from them, and it's a soul for EDG.
They're taking a fight now, but Chocho's on the wrong side of town, and Ala has already taken him out. He is a big croc, and he's looking angry. LWX has to use the Killer Instinct out as the Supreme Display of Talent was used as a defensive measure, but Fofo gets the flash forward kill on LWX. And this is EDG's game to run away with at this point.
Mid-jungle right now are just running this game. I mean, Ala as well, having a fantastic performance. I was wondering if Hacker, what he was going to be able to do in this situation. There are no jungle camps for him to take right now on any side of the map. So a dragon, a soul, and it is most importantly an infernal soul on a team that is building so much damage. The amplification you're going to be able to get from this soul is huge. Now splitting on two different lanes, sending the main core of the jungle and bot lane for EDG into mid lane. Your solo laners on the other side. FPX have no choice but to stand here and watch.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to get a push out on top side, but now the backs have to come through. Hacker's not even going to here. He's just going to keep farming away as his base crumbles to dust before their very eyes. FPX need to find a fight back, maybe one last gasp as an inhib goes down in bot. This will also be joined by the inhib in mid lane as well.
Wonderful timing here for EDG. Hacker sitting back here, he's getting some of his farm. He's making sure that, hey, we were going to lose those objectives whether or not I'm there. So, you know, taking that for himself, making sure that he's staying on top. He does have a lot of the enchanter items right now, but if you have enchanter items, you're trying to amplify whatever damage you have, and right now you're behind. So typically that means that you're not able to make the DPS check. And now, Lennon, we're going to be in a waiting position. 2.5 minutes for the Baron, 5 before Elder. We got time to set up whatever we need to, but FPX, they're looking down the barrel of going to Game 3.
They are indeed, and I think introspection point here in the middle of it all. Care on the Kiana, I think, was a bold choice. I think we've seen some good moments from it, but it's also one of those picks that really needs to have resources. And we were not able to see that for FPX, and that was one of the saving graces in game number 1, is just that execution bar that FPX were able to reach. But EDG have woken up, and they are angry to have taken those haymakers, and they are here to represent in game 2.
I like the mental thought that EDG, they're like sitting in the studio already, but all 5 of them are like tucked in. Their coaches like tucked them into their like own personalized bed. It's near like Goldilocks level, and they're just like, okay, it's time to wake up. We've got FPX to play, and it's like, oh, well, game 1, it's okay. We didn't wake up anyway. Someone didn't have the right amount of porridge. But here in game 2, EDG, they have Soul. They have a Baron if they really want to use it, try to end the game. They got 2 open inhibitors. It's merely a formality, trying to cross their I's and dot their T's. They want to end out this game strong.
At this point, they're on the chair portion of the Goldilocks saga, as they will be trying to sit in the comfortable chair of FPX in a win here. We'll see the TP from Ala re-engage from FPX. This might be a final moment. Chocho has said his final goodbye. As Shallow, who he was the saving grace and a huge power point in game 1. Can he be the difference here? It is just the one going down, but the siege continues.
Unfortunately for FPX, this game has just fallen apart. Your mid laner cannot find too many angles. And LWX, when you are playing this Kaisa, all of your damage is based on can you land Ws. It's been pretty hit or miss for the most part. It is more likely to miss. Okay.
This was a night that EDG wanted to show up and show out, to lock themselves into playoffs. It was a task set before them that was upended after that game number 1. They will play reserved, and they will try to...
Whoa!
Uzi! One more auto attack from LWX, and that's it. Uzi flashing out, though. That supreme display of talent didn't connect, and Fofo separates the rest of the team fight as well. He ended up getting him in the end. LWX gets the sniper shot onto Uzi, but it is still something that FPX can hold on to.
A huge win for FPX. They get the flash as well out of Uzi, which is going to be so pivotal coming for future fights. What an insane read from LWX. That is, I know, lethal as soon as possible. Not many other players would be able to spot that there on like completely unnoticed here.
This is scary.
So laners can TP.
That's an instant Dominus. Although they catch him out here. Oh my goodness. He does have the GA. He has a lot of time here, but EDG, they need to get here. They need to capitalize here because Ala is a saving moment, but he does not go down. He's healing up a storm, and Fofo's already taken out 1. LWX has got 2. And Shallow, who has showed up way too late to the fight, he will just give his life as Care can't even get Mako in the end. He's still trying to tank it up. He's still trying to heal it up, but he can't do it. And that's 1 by 1. Everybody going to the grave for FPX. And the Winions are on the cusp of claiming this game number 2 for EDG.
They got the soul. They got every single fight they could have potentially wanted there. LWX trying so hard to keep his team in this game. But Fofo going deathless this time, wanting to follow in the footsteps of Xiaohu earlier today. EDG, they take game 2, and they're going to send us to 3 here. They want to keep their playoff contention dreams in this series alive.
Fofo will not be denied on his signature Azir. He will show you how it's done. And KR had no say in the matter at the end. A very strong performance from EDG as a whole. I think Ala